I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
It seems like certain people want to just ride the attention of this song to maybe make them their own selves relevant, and that's aggravating as hell.
Sorry, Anthony, I can't help myself. Hello, I'm Crafty Andy, and these are my thoughts on the song Richmond, North of Richmond by Oliver Anthony. I'm doing this mainly because I'm confident my take on this song, Richmond, North of Richmond, and on Oliver himself is more nuanced than what the majority are saying in their own videos and posts. Oftentimes, people get so close to the actual source of the problems perpetuated and exacerbated the majority of people like us face, especially those in abject poverty. For example, some people I've talked to will accept how awful it is. There are 4 private companies that control all the airlines, 6 that control almost all the world's media, and 10 that nearly control all food production. But then they'll say that the problem is not that we have billionaires and just a handful of people controlling all the wealth of the world. It's that the Jews are behind controlling it all, and we need good Christian white men in charge instead. Now the song I'm talking about here is not missing the mark that far, just in one stanza, so naturally a bunch of lefties and liberals condemn the song and Oliver, while a bunch of millionaire conservatives paid by billion-dollar interests embrace it. Fake fucks like Ben Shapiro and the rest.
This song obviously has hit a nerve with people because it is, I think, the cry of a lot of people in the United States.
I get my videos on a pile of others, however, I can't pretend everyone coming across this and my channel knows every reference I'm making, so here are the first set of lyrics. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me and people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is, oh it is. Living in the new world with an old soul, these rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control, want to know what you think, want to know what you do. And they don't think you know, but I know that you do, because your dollar ain't shit and it's taxed to no end because of rich men north of Richmond. I wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, Texas ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground because all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. So there's the lyrics. Now, aside from Johnny Cash and the Dead South, there isn't any other country band or singer I can name and enjoy. Just like with rap outside of Eminem and Hobson, not much I can get down with. But more songs like this can bring me into it more. Now the first set of lyrics are straight up related to Wall Street, Epstein, and you relate the lines, want to know what you think, want to know what you do, to the overreaching of government, like the Patriot Act, religious institutions in general, politicians altogether. Doesn't even matter who is in charge at the time, they're all pretty much the same. So let's focus on the last part, the lines that get all the confusion. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. And the rest about fudge rounds and 300 pounds and all that shit. Alright, so first let's address how the focus is lost here. How conservatives misunderstand the song's intent and embrace it, as well as the mistake of lefties being entirely dismissive of it. Before we get into the aftermath with Oliver's interviews and recent response video he had made in light of all of this. First off, 43% of people in the country are classified as obese, including them that make 74% of Americans as overweight. Contrary to what you might think, poor people tend to get fat because all they can afford is shitty, fatty foods. Things have changed from the days of just outright starvation. The unemployment rate of the country is 3.5%. Pretty confident not all of them are obese to the point of disability. That aside, 70% of people on SNAP welfare benefits work full-time. Corporations use our tax dollars, including Oliver's here, to subsidize the shitty pay these people get from them. They are the ones that pack the food, stock the shelves, and serve us meals at restaurants. I remember this meme about welfare. I've gotten into arguments about this. Working people versus welfare people. Empty fridge versus full fridge. Okay, well, if welfare gives you such an abundance of supplies, then you would have to be an idiot to work at all, right? Just go on welfare then if it's so fucking great. Now with those dog whistles out of the way, there is plenty to love about the message and sentiment of this song. Overall, it's about how the majority of people like us are working our asses off in our jobs and careers, be it construction work, fast food, trucking, sanitation, doctors, and plenty more. You know who doesn't work nearly as hard, if at all? The owner class, landlords, CEOs, talking head millionaires paid by billionaires to promote social issue culture war bullshit. All this nonsense about woke media and corporations, billion-dollar industries that pay no taxes and in fact sometimes even get paid by the government for existing. Trans people using the bathroom and drag queens being made into an issue as if they were something new. I remember in the 90s the complaint was, it's cool to be black these days.
I hate the fact that it's cool to be black these days.
Good.
I hate this hip-hop fucking influence on white fucking suburbia.
And it was kids being turned gay, and now it's kids being turned trans, as if that's possible. We keep having to fight against legislation and justify our continued existence, and now on top of that, we have to fight legislation to allow women the right to have bodily autonomy. Illegal immigrants that pick the food we get to eat for little pay and no benefits. Politicians will pay lip service to issues, but ultimately will cater to corporate interests. We still got the same border policy that Trump had, union busting tactics and deregulation that leads to all these shittier jobs with shittier wages, and these disasters that happen from neglect. The idea of protecting kids is popular, but there's never a focus on actually protecting kids by, for example, dismantling religious institutions, eliminating the conditions that actually lead to family members trafficking their kids, which is how most of this shit goes on the younger you go. Instead, we get child labor laws being repealed and promotions of fantasy child selling organizations operating in pizza shops and non-existing kidnapping epidemics straight out of the satanic panic stranger danger of the 80s. Goddamn. There is so much I can go over. That and more is what this song stirs up inside of me. So it's actually refreshing to see this guy in a recent interview and video he made revealing that he's not looking to just pander and virtue signal to people like the Matt Walshes and Ben Shapipos of the world.
I know you turned $8 million down. You did a great statement. You said you don't want jets, you don't want tour buses. What do you want?
Just people to start appreciating each other for human beings and look beyond political differences and ideologies and a lot of things that I see corporate media and education doing, which is making everyone identify each other's differences and not their similarities. We're headed. We've got to go back to the roots of what made this country great in the first place, which was our sense of community and we are the melting pot of the world, and that's what makes us strong is our diversity, and we need to learn to harness that and appreciate it and not use it as a political tool to keep everyone separate from each other, you know?
All these right-wing chuds are already regretting making this song #1. Such a letdown. Did he sell out already to the rich men north of Richmond? Eric Worsthrone.
You show me a melting pot of diversity, and I'll show you a dangerous horror to be avoided like the plague marines.
Owen Benjamin. The #1 way the rich men north of Richmond, put in multiple brackets to indicate that he's talking about Jewish people here, low-key, undercut the wages of the people Oliver Anthony is impersonating is mass migration. The fact he said America is a melting pot and diversity is our strength means he's fake. It isn't white supremacy that makes the demographic he's impersonating hate migrants. It's the fact that migrants destroy their ability to make a living. The song's first line is, I've been selling my soul. If you people don't get better at recognizing this stuff according to their religion, they have a right and duty to turn you into cattle and cull you if they want. No one who's ever changed and build the wall would ever say diversity is our strength. It's physically not possible. Sandy X, and just like that, he's done. The CIA's Milli Vanilli from Anti-White Watch, repeating Zionist melting pot ethnocide narratives, pathetic. Close but no cigar industry plant, these companies are testing the waters to see if they can create fake Republican singers to make more money off the Republican demographic, and it works. People don't see the bigger picture. There's no invisible hand of the CIA, only corporate string.
The one thing that has bothered me is seeing people wrap politics up into this. I'm disappointed to see, like, it's aggravating seeing people on conservative news try to identify with me like I'm one of them. It's aggravating seeing certain musicians and politicians act like we're buddies and act like we're fighting the same struggle here, like that we're trying to present the same message. You know, I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and I've tried to be polite to everybody, and I've talked to hundreds of people the last 2 weeks. It seems like certain people want to just ride the attention of this song to maybe make them their own selves relevant, and that's aggravating as hell. Well, you know, like, it was funny seeing my song in the presidential debate, because it's like, I wrote that song about those people, you know? So for them to have to sit there and listen to that, that cracks me up. But it was funny kind of seeing the response to it. Like, that song has nothing to do with Joe Biden, you know? It's a lot bigger than Joe Biden. That song's written about the people on that stage, and a lot more too, not just them, but definitely them.
You gotta love how quickly these fuckers go turncoat on one of their fellow human beings not towing the line. Oh, he doesn't low-key hate black and queer people? I'm out. It reminds me of when Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails, bless his name and all that is unholy, came out with the song Capital G from the Year Zero album. So many people thought it was some shallow jab at George Bush, who was president at the time, leading the farce on terror. Reality, of course, it was about greed, but that didn't stop people declaring Trent as some liberal hippie. Today, just be woke. So yeah, this gives me the impression for the most part Oliver is genuine. He doesn't need anyone's endorsement, not yours, not mine. A true creative. Now if he comes out with a new song about kitty litter in schools and drag queens touching your kids, I'll take back all the praise and benefit of the doubt I gave him, but for now, color me interested. I want to see more class and socially conscious music that's good to listen to, whatever it takes to get people to at least be aware of how we are all being played by the true owners of this country. The ones with all the money and doomsday bunkers to boot? Think they know something we don't? The better our general consciousness is focused on the true enemies of this world, the more likely a more positive turn comes as less and less food is available, let alone affordable, at the grocery store, as opposed to lynching minorities as scapegoats and enforcing theocratic rule once again. The right just grabbed onto the song based on one part, talking about people they hate the most. Made up lazy poor people. And yes, I did say made up. They spun it hilariously, trying to act as if the rest of the lyrics don't apply to people like them. Lefties would do good to not be so dismissive of anything that isn't at 100% and use that as a springboard for some talking points. You're not going to find many people that disagree with the beginning part of this, at least. I actually talk and interact with people that are not terminally online. Anecdotes aside, never forget that the majority are live and let live. And if you are in a comfortable position, I consider it a waste to merely stew in complacency. It's how you get set up to be a puppet, used and played by the people songs like this warn you about. Surface level, fake concern over social issues and marginalized groups of people by major corporations, religious organizations promoting superstitious beliefs, dividing us on the basis of an invisible God and trying to make laws that we all have to follow whether we believe in their God or not. Arguments from tradition and the attempts to gaslight you about history in order to make you a more obedient worker and nationalistic citizen. These are just my thoughts though. Comment me ideas, subscribe, Patreon for early videos and art, prints for sale at the store, streaming progress of projects at the Crafty Ants channel, Pause Off channel for gaming highlights, Weird Zors for other stuff. Squigs Weasel is live gaming on Kick under Squigs Weasel. Subscribe, like, you heard what I said, now see it done.